Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, the face cam is back. This setup will be here just for a couple more videos, right? We are going back to the office very, very soon. Had to get some things renovated. Want to bring back the face cam. You know what I'm saying? Feeling good, feeling great. Spring is here. Yeah, man, I don't know. Just wanted to bring it out. And yes, this is recorded slightly in advance, just in case you did watch the two previous videos I made. Had to pre-record just in case, because I am going to be moving my stuff back to the office, so I need some time for that. Big shout out to Uber Eats for sponsoring this video. First 50 people get $20 off their first 2 meals, which means you can literally eat for free. Just use the code on your screen or the link in the description below. And don't want to miss out on any videos, but the information is still going to be practically up to date. First off, ladies and gentlemen, we can see the giveaway is here, right? This is what you simply have to do if you want to enter the giveaway. Highly, highly recommend it. You never know if you're going to win, right? It is just, you just commit 2 minutes of your time and you could possibly win some money. So who says no? Who says no? Anyways, let's jump right into the meat and potatoes. Look, we are at 388 million volume, 388 million market cap, 77 million volume. So we can see we slowed down a little bit, but that's not really that bad. Not that bad. The whole market is bleeding out a little bit, which we will cover in just a second. I did make a video comparing, turbo to base turbo, which I still think, there's always a valid reason to bring it up. Not going to cover it every single day, of course. Might cover it once every 2 weeks, once a month, depending on the demand. Anyways, look, 54,800 holders. We are growing despite kind of consolidating and selling off a little bit. Okay, so, that should really show something. I mean, this last month and a half should really show something about Turbo, right? I mean, come on. We were like the most pumped coin in the top 300 like 3 weeks ago. So, Turbo will have those moments of boom, big pumps, right? We talked about how, in general, crypto moves in bursts and Turbo moves in bursts, okay? We can see even if we go all the way back here, right? We have a big pump, slow down for a couple of weeks before we have another big pump, then slow down, have a little bit of a correction for a couple of weeks before we start recovering, slow down right before the big bang for 2 weeks in a row. Then, of course, things kind of slowed down. Summer was kind of slow. People weren't too happy. But then we can see that we started to recover very, very nicely mid-September, and we started to bang back in October. Remember, people, we banged before every single coin, which still makes me think that this coin will top slightly earlier than most coins, okay? Last cycle, there was this thing where some coins topped early, most coins topped around mid-April, and some coins topped out, the first week of May. So I do believe that we are most likely going to be looking at the early top out, or kind of coming in with everybody, but that might be a second pump or maybe slightly higher. I do believe it's gonna be one of those scenarios, because if we get something similar where coins kind of pumped in 3 different times all within like a month span, I don't believe it's going to be this one. And I don't believe the top will be most likely the second pump. Of course, we're going to cover that when the time comes. But we can see, right? Boom, we topped out and then we started to drop off. Had a little bit of a pump back in November. That is when, of course, a lot of people were, going crazy. The crypto markets were going crazy. Boom, boom, boom. Markets went crazy once again in December. Then we had our top. This was also when kind of like Coinbase released our token, right? Some people think it's Coinbase's fault. I mean, not really. We've seen the evidence now that's it's clearly not because of Coinbase, right? The whole market just sold off. But yeah, look, people, talking about today's data and evidence, okay? Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community, sell and buy calls, and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should have, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets. So here's the thing. We are definitely going to see some type of retracement. Okay, we are definitely going to see some type of retracement, right? For me, it's just a matter of how much. Now, I personally don't really care. I don't. Okay, the micro moves, I never really cared. My whole plan is plan A to plan Z. That is it. Yes, is it the number one best way to make the most amount of money? No, I've had times where I could have cashed out a lot and bought in lower. Okay, but I said this cycle, I want to play it guaranteed for a certain amount of money, and I'm still on track to do that. So for me, whatever's happening in the middle, the ups, the downs, this bad news, and all of a sudden this good news, I don't really care because I know where crypto is going to end up. And we can see, right, if you follow the news, which I'll start covering news soon, just globally, it's just so good. And the global liquidity and everything is just so good. I mean, it is inevitable that all these coins are going to pump super, super hard for an altcoin season. Look, we can see that we did get rejected. We did have a, decent rejection, and we are having a decent sell-off. Nothing too crazy. Momentum is slowing down a lot. So before we continue going lower, we probably will get a little bit of a pullback before we sell off. I really do think there is going to be some type of sell-off. I don't think it's going to be big unless we were just wrong about Bitcoin. Okay. And the reason why I bring up Bitcoin is because, ladies and gentlemen, I believe Bitcoin is overall going to be ranging kind of like the way I said. Okay. Kind of like the way I said. Now, overall, we are behind on global liquidity. Okay, we know that crypto is always behind, and global liquidity has been just pretty much skyrocketing. Yes, there were little minor dips here and there, which is probably why we have to slow down, just because of also fundamental levels and everything. But in general, it's like this is all micro, right? The bigger picture is just fantastic. It is just fantastic. So I do believe, if anything, we do get a pullback, probably maximum to 100K, which would mean Bitcoin drops 3.5%, which would be roughly like 12% drop, which we saw last time for Turbo. So if we did drop that 12%, we could go all the way down here to this green box. Buying below 0.005 is going to be a great opportunity. Now, if I'm talking about how manipulation works and everything, then I do think there's a decent chance also we will have the 0.04 swept. Okay, but you have to remember, this is a certain type of mindset and style, especially when it comes to trading. It doesn't have to happen when the markets are really bullish. I do not believe we will have a full-on correction to 0.003, right? It would be technically literally the most fundamental correction you can get. If we go on something like the monthly, we go into this order block candle over here, which is this manipulation sell with a bigger pump candle, creating this type of formation here. We can see if we take it from the body of this candle and even pull it back, it is literally going to be the most fundamental correction, right? We pull back, we fill up some of this imbalance, right? Because this candle did pump heavy, so we'd fill up some of this imbalance. We would take out liquidity over here, and we would have a support and resistance retest. Okay, so support and resistance retest. We take out weekly liquidity, right? We fill up some imbalance, and we go into a monthly order block. I mean, that is literally the most fundamental. But once again, like I said, it does not need to happen. Okay, so we will monitor this, right? We will monitor this. Overall, if you are looking to dollar cost average, in my opinion, I would be buying at 0.005. If it goes lower, 0.004, and then roughly 0.003, maybe a little bit higher than that, right? Those would be my dollar cost averages. And if you don't know the way I would personally dollar cost average, if I would put, let's just say, $100 on this 0.005 position, then the next position I'd put $200, and in the last position I would put $400, because I would be really, really confident with overall the Turbo's the way Turbo is going to be moving over the next couple months with altcoin season, right? With altcoin season. Now, speaking about altcoin season, we will cover Bitcoin dominance very, very quickly. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, that we did officially bounce off this 62%, and we are getting some type of retracement right now. In order for me to even confirm that we are officially going to be flipping on Bitcoin dominance, all right, we can see we have these lows over here. We would have to take out this high, okay, this high of 63.14%, and then come back down and create probably some higher low. So we go up, we take this out, come back down, and then go up higher, right? Also probably creating some type of reverse head and shoulders eventually. So it would look something like this for me to even confirm that, hey, yeah, Bitcoin dominance is going to be going up, right? Right now, there is no confirmation. There is no nothing. So yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.